You want to know what the truth is? If you haven't listened to anything in this video, just listen to this.
So it seems like you've got two different goals. You've described Israel's goal as just regime change, permanent chaos, take Iran off the map as a coherent nation state, just tie them up with internal chaos, whatever the effects of that are on the rest of the world, all of them disastrous. Then on the American side, you have the president's stated goal, which is we can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon, which they didn't have and weren't.
By the way, that's just like so silly from Tucker, acting like his stated goal is that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. If that's the stated goal, I mean, he's had like 100 stated goals. You can't claim that Trump has a stated goal because his stated goal, it changes every time he takes a shit. His stated goal changes 5 times throughout the day. Iran launches less missile barrages, 10 a day, than Trump changes what the official stated goal is for this war on a daily basis. Like, you can't claim that. And here is the God's honest truth. You want to know what the truth is? If you haven't listened to anything in this video, just listen to this. It literally doesn't matter why Trump was motivated to launch this war. It doesn't matter. It's a war that we're going to lose. It's an unjust war. It's a war that's going to cost us a lot of money. It's a war that's going to cost us a lot of blood, a lot of treasure. It's going to further ostracize the entire world from the U.S. It's a war that's going to piss off everyone. It's a war that's going to show how weak we are, how weak our Air Force is, how weak our Navy is, how weak the U.S. dollar is, how easy it is to target the U.S. dollar as a global hegemon currency. It's a war that the goal is regime change. There's no other way to spin it. But really, it doesn't matter what Trump concocts in his head as to the reason why he pulled the trigger. It doesn't matter. People are gonna debate. Oh, Trump was pressured. Oh, Trump wanted this. Oh, Trump wanted no nukes, and he was lied about. The intelligence was lied. Oh, Trump thought this was going to be easy. None of that matters. What matters is what the base of power in the United States has been planning for decades. Go back to Wesley Clark, General Wesley Clark. What did he say? Iran was the pinnacle of the 8 nations without Rothschild banks. You know, nations where Jeffrey Epstein could not run amok, right? Iran was the crown jewel of these nations that the U.S. was going to launch wars in and overthrow the governments of. Dick Cheney was intrinsically involved in creating that plan, that master plan of all these countries. Dick Cheney wasn't in the Epstein files. Dick Cheney did it for the love of the game. He just did it because that was the goal here. Go back. You know, this is very interesting, by the way. Notice how all these people are saying, oh, everything it's all Israel's fault. Israel lied about the intelligence. Israel forced us into this. Israel did this, that, and the third. Oh, of course, Israel wanted this. But can you honestly say that Israel is all that different from any of the other American bases in the region? Can you honestly say that? It's just the only one that has nukes. Can you say that it's all that different from any of the other bases in the region? No, you can't. It has nukes. That's the only difference. When you look at what the official policy of the U.S. has been for decades, go back and read the Brookings Institution. Go back and read what the major finance capital families in the U.S. were all putting their money into at the Brookings Institution, at the Rand Corporation. What were they putting their money into? What were they putting their minds to? They were putting their money and minds to a decades-long plan that would extend throughout various presidential administrations. Read the Pathways to Persia, where over several administrations, through obfuscating what the true intentions are, claiming that they have diplomacy. Oh, well, the JCPOA, we're not going to sanction you. We're going to allow you to be, free members of the global community, right? Well, that ended up not happening. Then Trump came in, blew it all up under the direct discretion of Mike Pompeo and John Bolton, right? Sanctions reapplied. But oh, wait. Iran has lost their opportunity now to create a nuclear device, a nuclear weapon. In 2003, they were doing it, right? During the Obama era, they understood, at the start of the Obama era, they understood that they had a really big problem. Obama's a blank slate. There's talk that he's going to go hard on Iran. There's talk that he's going to go to diplomacy. If Obama goes hard on Iran, then maybe we'll create a nuclear weapon. Oh no, Obama's a soft guy. He goes for the diplomacy. Trump's the hard guy. He goes for removing the JCPOA, adding the sanctions again. Biden comes back in. Well, now the goal is, of course, we're going to have a return to the JCPOA because Biden, former vice president of Obama, surely he wants to go back to the JCPOA. Surely he wants an Iran deal. But we have this stupid notion in America that presidents actually make decisions, that there is not a cabal of military industrial companies, of these powerful think tanks. Tucker and Joe Kint are talking about the FDD, claiming it's some like all powerful Zionist think tank lobby group in the U.S. No, who is powerful is the Brookings Institution, the energy companies, massive energy oil and gas firms, Department of Energy, Pentagon, State Department, Brookings Institution, Rand Corporation. And this has been their goal for years. Their goal has been to eventually get to the point where you have a war in Iran, and then they want to pawn off the blame on Israel. You can read it for yourself. I have the document sitting in front of me. I just told someone that, and they didn't believe me when I told them that. I was having a phone call with them before I started the stream. Go after this stream, look up Brookings Institution. It's their 2009. It's like a November 2009 white paper that they publish. It has 170 or so pages. It's called Which Path to Persia? And they talk about this. They say, of course, our goal is war in Iran. Of course. But we have to pawn off the blame on Israel because it's going to be deeply unpopular for Americans given the blowback. And also, we're okay with Israel getting hit, but we cannot afford our U.S. bases to be targeted. We cannot afford to have our financial assets targeted. We cannot afford to have Strait of Hormuz shut down. Cannot afford to have, they couldn't have foreseen this, but Bab el-Mandeb Strait shutdown is now happening as well, right? But the Iranians understand that the head of the snake is on Wall Street. So they're doing these sorts of ancillary attacks on Israeli military bases. They're launching these cluster munitions, submunitions, whatever you want to call them, at Israel. They're making life unlivable. They're making it stressful for the Israelis, the Zionist entity. You have air raid sirens going off like every 30 minutes or less. But what is their main target here? Their main target is to twist the screws directly into the neck of the dollar hegemon, the petrodollar, by targeting the Strait of Hormuz, targeting oil and gas infrastructure in these Gulf states, and also now what is going to be the shutting down of the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. Even more so, the goal, if you listen to the words of the supreme leader of Iran, Mojtaba Khamenei, his first address he gave as supreme leader, is that we cannot have U.S. bases in the region any longer. That was the number one point that he made. No more U.S. forces in the region. They were cutting off the head of the snake. Tucker and Joe Kint and all these people, anonymous officials from the Pentagon, from the IC, the intelligence community, they all keep coming out and telling you, why do you think the intelligence community has so many leakers telling you that everything right now is Israel's fault and that there's no blame to be put on Trump, there's no blame to be put on the US? Could it be because this was literally outlined as the strategy back in 2009 by the most powerful think tanks on the face of the fucking earth that dictate all of our foreign policy? That this was their plan? I just have a very big problem with this Joe Kint guy saying all this stuff. And apparently the day before Joe Kint went and resigned, he went to J.D. Vance with Tulsi Gabbard, his superior, the director of national intelligence. And J.D. Vance told Joe Kint, remove the attacks on Trump from your letter of resignation. Make it a bit softer. Don't attack Trump so hard. And guess what? He did it. He did it. He's still allowed to keep in the part saying that, think about it. He goes to the vice president of the United States, and the vice president says, yeah, it's okay. You can keep in the part where it says that Israel started this and Israel gave us faulty intelligence, and the Israel lobby completely, the all-powerful Israel lobby completely took over all facets, and they forced this into existence. But the part where you blame Trump, yeah, take that out. That's not allowed. Think about that. I know that's like not the appropriate thing to say. That's not what you're supposed to be saying. But do you ever wonder why that the whole thing about like, you know, absolving the U.S. of any wrongdoing because, oh, they're just controlled by Israel. Oh, they're just controlled. They completely absolve the U.S. of having any sort of independent thinking, any sort of independent decision making. They absolve the Department of Energy, the Pentagon, the State Department, these think tanks, Rand Corporation, Brookings Institution, of having any independent thinking, any independent decisions being made, and they just blame it all on Israel. But if you actually read what they've said, that this was their plan going back decades. You can read it in their white papers. They have entire fucking sections dedicated to this being the psychological strategy of this war because of how unpopular it's going to be and because of the need to protect their interests in the region. Anyway, so I saw this whole thing with Joe Kint, and it honestly just pissed me off. Also, Joe Kint, I will say this about Joe Kint. He posted his letter of resignation, this right here. He posted this letter. I immediately saw it, and I responded, the only patriotic decision you could have made, I hope U.S. troops are smart enough to follow in suit. Now, for about 7 hours, that was the most liked comment on his post. I'm obviously encouraging troops to do, conscientious objection. I'm not saying that they should take any illegal actions. I'm saying there are legal pathways to refuse participation in this conflict. But what was very odd about this was that comment was by far and away the number one most liked comment under his post. So anyone who clicked on his post, the most viral news of the day, they immediately saw that comment. And oddly enough, it got to 31,000 likes, as you can see. Oddly enough, out of nowhere, Joe Kint hid my comment on his post. Why would Joe Kint hide his comment? So he's okay with people commenting, fuck Israel, Israel's behind this, it's the Israel lobby, naming names, noticing as they say. But if you say this, that the U.S. has responsibility, if you say this, that U.S. troops can make a decision to reject participation legally in this war, he hides the comment. So my comment immediately went from 31,000 likes and flatlined. And if you pull up this post now, you can't see my comment. You have to go to my page and find my comment and then go from there to see his post. You won't find my comment on his post. So, yeah, that's really weird. That's really weird. Why is that? Why did he remove my comment? He didn't remove the comment of anyone else, but this one he decided to remove. Very weird. I think I know why. I think it's what I was just saying. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support, because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support.